Good morning, everybody. We're going to do something a little bit more serious than our usual idiotic things that we do on a normal Saturday morning. So we wish to honor all the veterans that have served our country throughout the years, and hopefully everything that they sacrificed for is not going down the tubes.
Boy, Elmo.
All right. So if you want to,
Let's go.
let's go. Okay, and now we're just going to appear out of magic that we're right
There
here.
we go.
Yep.
Just
And
like the
you can
virus.
call
It'll just
in.
go
Yep.
away.
We're going to dispense with the normal frivolity here and hopefully do something a little bit more.
Anyway, good
serious.
morning, everybody. This is Uncle Scottie Barter along with Elmo. We're not going to call him insane today. He's prim and proper here.
Yep.
And welcome to the November 7th, our Veterans Day show on the Kenosha Today Saturday Morning Breakfast Club. We have escaped the bonds of the Barter Manor Family Room Studio, and we're, as you can see, we're on a mission to broadcast anywhere from the planet. And we are streaming live across the very warm and sun-drenched cornfields of the Midwest to everyone all around the world. We are brought to you this morning by our major sponsors, Barter's Financial Planning Services, and a host of other very fine local businesses. We remain committed to the great city of Kenosha. We continue to broadcast live and local, bringing you the most up-to-date news, weather, sports, and entertainment. And, of course, your call-ins, 262-597-3020. If you want to watch the replay, just go to YouTube, and there you just hit Kenosha Today Breakfast Club, right?
Yep.
And there it is.
All the dates are on there.
Yep.
Hopefully I got them right. I mess up every once in a while.
That's all right.
That's it. So.
Everybody can now sign up with the thousands of our fans who have joined the Kenosha Today Nation and like us on Facebook. As you can see, our number 262-597-3020. It is 61 degrees, balmy degrees here in the
Beautiful
Kenosha.
November weather.
I've never seen this. We had a nice week, and maybe today, tomorrow, and then Monday, and then things will kind of slide.
Golf course has got to be loving this stuff, man. I bet they're packed.
Absolutely. And you know what Kenosha does? They closed theirs a week ago. Makes perfect sense. But you know what? They have problems with paying guys, because Kenosha uses city workers. They don't use seasonal people. But
It's just Muni. Are you talking
yeah,
about?
Muni, I mean.
Okay.
I'm assuming Pets
Kenosha.
and the rest of them.
Oh, yeah, they'll do it. But you must remember the private courses, too. We have Maple Crest and Bristol Oaks and places like that.
And there's
And
another
Spring Valley.
Big Joke and Spring Valley, yeah. But they open sometimes. They've been open year round, and if you want to go out there and pay them $5,
I played golf on New Year's one year. It was like 65 degrees. I played golf on New Year's, so it was wonderful.
As you can see, we are going to do something a little different. We've always done this, and this year it's a little different because all of the Veterans Day programs, from the American Legion to VFW and onward to Library Park, they're all been canceled.
Yep.
They had something back on this last Monday at the Job Center and it was kind of a veterans luncheon. But it's unfortunate because we cannot forget our veterans, especially in this time and age. We had a little discussion on what we're going to do here today. All I'm going to say is the election's over. The campaigning is over. The voting is still going on. And so if you want to give us a call and tell us how you think we can come together a little bit better, because we are divided right down. I mean, that's all the elections. Look how close they are.
Mail your illegal ballots to Barter Manor.
I'm sitting on 10,000 for Nixon. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with those. I got to get them certified. But, whatever it is, they'll straighten it out. If there's fraud, they'll find it. And, this election probably won't finally be certified January, maybe.
Well, I go back to 2000 with the hanging Chad.
Oh,
You got a problem with a hanging Chad. I know that. You got to go see the doctor for that. So, but no, it was 38 days it went on after the election. So that's this ain't nothing new.
That was 20 years ago, and there were some real issues. I think that if I recall, I heard this week, that whole thing was decided by 500 votes down in Florida when they went through
I don't
something
remember.
like that, and actually went to the Supreme Court to decide. And I don't know where this is going to
No,
end
it
up.
actually came down to the Secretary of State in Florida.
Oh, did it?
She was the one that finally had to certify the count. So that's and the Supreme Court said it's up to you. Hey, it's your state, not our job.
Well, we'll see what happens this time, because it is what it is. And if you also have a comment on, again, how you think we can come together, I guess
we're not. This is war. We're not going to come together. Get that out of your head.
Well, So Veterans Day. Well, yeah, you know what? It is because people are really even there's protests outside the voting where they're counting the votes. So
Yep.
it's I've never seen a country this divided. I thought back in the late '60s when I was telling you, yeah, I went down to Grand Park. I think it was in '69 for a war protest. What did Nixon do? He drafted my ass 6 months later. That worked out, right? But I don't.
Then he traded you to the North Vietnamese for a seventh round draft pick to be named later. Okay.
This old story. Ho Chi Minh looked at my papers. He says, Nixon, you take them back. You drafted them. It's all yours. But we do appreciate the all the veterans and that have served in all the different wars. And
Yep.
like I almost said earlier, war, freedom doesn't come cheap. And I just hope we can get past this. And the pandemic didn't help matters either. And I'm tired of hearing about that business. But it seems like every day we get more and more. I got a friend of mine that's going to pass over the weekend probably, and it's not a pretty sight. And
Life goes on.
yeah,
That's it.
for those of us who are healthy, wealthy, and I don't know how wise we are, but
Fat and happy.
that's me anyway. Fat and sassy. The county board had. Oh, by the way, before I get off of this, you can go to. I got to take my glasses off. If you voted absentee, you can go on myvote.wi.gov, and you can see when you asked for your absentee ballot, when they got it, and as of yesterday, they hadn't put it in there. It says take up to 45 days by state law that you can see if your vote was actually counted. Trouble is that after 45 days, the state of Wisconsin will have certified everything, right?
Right.
So if that happens, well, I'd go down there and
I
complain.
think they have Wisconsin's December 14th. I want to say
It's later than most.
That's the
Yeah.
deadline. So okay.
I don't know if there's going to be not recalls, but recounts. I know the one in.
Well, recounts don't matter because they just.
I don't know what you're going to
Well,
do.
they count all the illegal ballots too. So that's. So
Now, we talk about being divided. The county board was an article in the paper today. 3 of these characters, and this is supposed to be nonpartisan positions, although this was strictly partisan lines because I know who these people are. They voted against Cruiser's budget, so now we don't have anything to fund body cameras for the sheriffs. We don't have any money to do anything until they can vote this. So it's almost like they wanted to have a resolution to bond for $15 million. Well, and 425 would have been for the body cameras. Now we got nothing. And if you're telling people you're doing what's good, you know what? You better come together, or we're going to have to put some new people in those spots.
well, that's the way it works.
Let's see, it's 2000. They were just elected this year, so it wouldn't be till for another year. But you've got to do what's good for. You talk about coming together. Give them your vote and let the city and the county get on with, especially when it comes to the body cameras. Quit screwing around with that. And then they couldn't have the 3 people that voted against it. They needed an 18 vote. I think it was 3/4 vote. They just obviously it was along party lines, and that's not helpful for the.
Hey, Scott, I got a resolution for you.
Okay.
Body cameras for strippers. How about that? We can.
We should have the body cameras. If we don't engage in that type of activity.
Never.
Actually,
We don't do stuff
anymore.
Okay.
But we have a couple of our friends go to On the Border and have season passes. But
We got the GoPros. That's
Yeah.
that's it. So okay.
262-597-3020. Here we are. Remember last week when the weather wasn't good and the phones light up? Here the weather's so nice. People are out there
So
raking
nice.
leaves. So we'll see how long we go today. Going back to on November 2nd, I think that would have been last Saturday, at the Kenosha County Division of Veteran Services, they had a little.
Well, last Saturday was Halloween. So.
Oh, okay, so it would have been Monday.
Shirley's still out wearing her sexy witch costume, so that's nice.
Well, at least they did something, but this is very unfortunate that they could have easily gone outside to Library Park and social distances, but that's too bad that they didn't do that. I forgot when Memorial Day, most of the things were canceled too.
Yep.
And
I had a board meeting with the German choir via Zoom on Thursday night, and so we got no plans to do anything. That's it. No concerts, no. We were talking about going Christmas caroling and doing stuff like that. Nope, nope, nope. We can't do any of that stuff. So it's terrible.
Well,
It's all terrible.
the pandemic has taken to more people. I was with an individual on Wednesday, and I had a mask on, and this gal said, "Well, because I couldn't breathe, I had one of those 95,
Oh,
and I had it like right here." And you gotta put that mask right up, and I said, "I can't breathe." Just that's where all the stuff comes from your nose. And I said, "Well, what's going to be worse, if I can't breathe and I die, or I die from the pandemic?" I mean, give me a break.
yeah.
He said, "Well, this was in Illinois. Well, if I had my way, I'd give you a ticket." Okay, how much? $1,000. Bring it on, you know.
Yeah.
Come on. There is no. In fact, there was something in the paper. I should have clipped it out. The Wisconsin Supreme Court overdid that.
Overturned, you mean?
Yeah, overturned Evers. What did he have a mandate that was? Oh, 25% maximum.
Yep.
They always said that you can't do that, and I don't know how you're going to enforce it anyway. I'm all for wearing the mask. I wear one out when I go out and to the store, everything. But I got to live, and you know, that good Lord wants to take me. I guess I can go. I can get hit by a gravel truck going to the golf course. So.
That's right.
But I'm not going to demean the fact that
I used to have the board, I called it. It was just a bulletin board, and I would put weird articles, up there. And here's a guy, McHenry Country Club. He's teeing off down there, and there's a road with a big sharp turn right there. A garbage truck is out of control and busts through the fence and mows him down and kills him on the tee. So you never know what's going to happen.
I hate to ask what his handicap was.
We have a caller here.
Okay,
Scott.
I'm gonna go to it.
Good morning,
Good morning,
you're on Kenosha
gentlemen.
Today.
How you guys doing?
How you doing, Dennis?
All right. Thanks for your service there, Scott.
Well, I was not, by my own admission, I really wasn't postable
I know,
material.
but hey, you were in the military, and and I got a little idea about maybe how we start to chip away at the division in the country.
I'm all ears.
Number one, with the adults, I agree with Elmo. I think it's too late for the adults. I think there's too much of a hard line drawn, and it's in the sand. And I don't think the healing is going to be easy, or if possible at all. I think what you got to do is start with the kids. Like I told you, I sub, and I see what goes on with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
You got little kids in school now. They asked me who I voted for. I told them I wouldn't tell them because I didn't want to slant, their view or their opinion either way. But their little kids are arguing with each other. Trump, Biden, all that yelling, Trump and Biden. Oh, my dad said this. My mom said this. I mean, what you got to do is, I think, start in school and say, hey, listen, number one, we got a great country. Is it perfect? No. Okay?
Yeah.
Number two, I think you got to say, you need to be at least amenable to listening to the opinion of another person and argue it logically, not base it on what your parents tell you or what you hear from different teachers. Maybe some teachers, and I've heard some teachers are indoctrinating the kids toward one way or the other too, and that's not right. That is not right. I think these kids got to be.
Go ahead, Dennis.
These kids got to be taught to learn for themselves, and study and learn what they want to feel and why they want to feel it, as far as which way they're going to have an opinion about this country. But I do agree with one thing Trump did is, got rid of these programs where the validity and the faithfulness and the acceptance of our country as a good place is in question. I don't think that should be a topic at all. I think we are the greatest country on earth, and it's because we allow freedom, liberty, and freedom of opinion and freedom of speech.
You mentioned something about the kids coming, and my mom said this, or my dad said, you can tell, even before we got to here, the language and the words they use. Every other word's after this, and, the language is terrible, isn't it? I mean, if you go on the playground.
No. The language that the kids were using wasn't bad, really. It was just that the strength of the opinion. It was like, I believe this. My mom said this. My dad said this, and that's why I'm telling you it's this way. And another kid would go, oh no, this is this, and then they would argue based on a couple like talking points that they heard. Very simple because they're kids. Very simple talking points, but I mean they already were starting to get opinionated, and I'm afraid that this is going to bloom into what Elmo's talking about, a non-retrievable situation in the future. Whereas if we teach the kids, hey, listen, there's opinions and then there's facts. They need to be taught the difference between a fact and an opinion. And I think, like one of the candidates, maybe they need to be taught the difference between a fact and the truth.
Yeah, go ahead, Elmo. I almost got something.
Well, Dennis, there's a couple of things that I've noticed, and I play this game with people all the time, because they're opinionated one way or the other. But and I'm strictly a policy person. I really don't care what party you're in. If you proposed a bad law or a good law or something like that, I make my decisions based on that, and I really don't care what side of the aisle you're on. But I pose this question to the same thing. Okay, here's a policy, and so proposed it. Okay, and it's usually this Republican proposed it. Oh, it's a horrible idea. Blah blah blah. No, there's no way it's going in. So then I would pose the same thing. Well, but so and so the Democrat opposed it. Oh, it's the greatest thing in the world. So they don't even think about what actually the policy is. All they care is who proposed it. We got to get past the personality politics. That's the whole thing.
Dennis,
what side you're on.
When I was a kid growing up in the 50s, a young kid, my dad was a Republican. I came from a Republican household, and I voted. Back in those days, you couldn't vote as independent. You had to vote party lines.
Yep. Scott, if I may interrupt, we have the hottest woman on earth on the line right now. So
Gunga's here.
Good morning, Shirley.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey, Shirley.
Hi, Dennis. I agree with you 100%. This is the greatest country, and let the children decide themselves. Don't tell them what to do. Let them decide for themselves.
Well, to an extent, but don't forget they are children, and they have to be guided, and to some degree.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be swayed one way or the other. Let them think for themselves.
Teach them how to think, not what to think.
That's right. And
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like, I grew up, we had a lot of kids in my neighborhood. I got kicked out the door at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and we had about 20 kids there, and we played baseball and games and stuff like that. We learned how to get along, and we figured it out. We rode our bicycles blindfolded down the street and crashed and got all bent up and stuff like that. But we had fun, and we figured it out.
How much do you think social media has played in the last 5-8 years into all of this?
Oh, unbelievable amount, unbelievable amount.
I mean, everybody's got a cell phone and they got Facebook, and when the Jacob,
why I never do it.
When the riots came to town, I mean, the stuff that was put on social media was unbelievable, and next thing you know, we had a couple thousand people here burning our town down. But
I know
that's here to stay
from the media. So much.
One thing I want to ask you guys, and Shirley. What do you think about this? A lot of people talk about systemic racism. There's racism on an individual basis, maybe even on an organizational basis in some cases, but not on a national basis. The federal government will not allow racism to exist today with the laws that are in place and what they'll do to somebody if they catch them practicing racist type of policies. Whereas, are individuals racist? Are maybe some sub-organizations that aren't governmental, are they racist? Yeah, they are. But that's not the U.S. government. We got those people. Yeah, we have to, attack their racism. Yeah, and say, yeah, what you're doing is racial discrimination or whatever, and attack them legally. But the federal government and this country in general is not systemically racist. I really believe that.
You're correct, Dennis. What I think systemic racism is a myth created by people that can make money off of promoting that narrative, and that's all it is. That's it. So it really, I go back to, I brought in the first person of color into my Rotary Club after being there since 1920 in Kenosha since 1925, and there was no problem with that whatsoever. So and I just don't see it. It's a thing people use to make themselves victims, and and to give themselves an excuse for what they can't do themselves.
After the riots, we had this Black Lives Matter, and I'm still waiting to see what does Black Lives Matter mean. I have yet to hear a platform.
They're a Marxist organization that believes in anarchy and the overthrow of the United States government. That's what they are.
Oh, here goes the house, Elmo.
Go on their website. They make no bones about it.
I agree with you, Scott, all the way.
But you know what? I followed. I wanted, and they said we got to have this conversation. Okay.
What do you want? What do you want?
I think the mayor had 3 listening sessions, and they were going to do a study, and I think Cruiser, they've done what, and above and beyond. But what is it? What is the message? I mean, there was a time, you remember affirmative action? Remember that?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
It still exists. It's still there. Yep.
And it said, if I correct me if I'm wrong, but affirmative action said if, let's say Kenosha had 6% minorities, you had to employ 6% minority type people. And there was back in the late 70s, there was a guy, a white guy about my age at the time, 29. He filed a reverse discrimination suit and won because
we're going to let stupider people into college, because of the color of their skin. How racist is that? You talk about systemic racism. That's right there.
That's what I got caught up. I was 29 years old. I was working for corporate America and the best sales and profits and inventory, and people were zinging past me because of that affirmative action thing. So now I think Kenosha follows affirmative action. And I remember having this conversation with Brother John Wright and Reverend Arrington. And at the time, they said there was not enough minorities on the fire department. That was it. And you had to get a 75, or maybe it was 70, on the written exam to go to the next part. Well, nobody could get it, so they wanted to lower it to like 62 or 65. And I said, I'm all for what you guys are trying to do here, but you can't dumb down the system, so to speak.
Well, I find that it's talk about racist. Okay, you're not smart enough or good enough to make it on your own, so we have to lower the standards for people of color to be able to qualify for this job or this thing. How demeaning is that? It's ridiculous.
I don't deny that there has been problems, and if I go back to John Lewis and Martin Luther King and what they had to go through, I get that. And I really appreciate them having to pay that price and all the others. But if you look at all the elections around the country, we have a black female mayor in Chicago. There's a black governor in, I think it's Georgia.
Yep.
And in Atlanta.
We had a black president. And
right.
Okay.
2 terms. So, but they got off the couch and went out and did that. I think Obama went to Harvard, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
That would have been my alma mater.
You brought up Dr. Martin Luther King. It's all about what he said. The content of your character, not the color of your skin.
Exactly.
Boy, thank you, Dennis.
You're so right, Dennis. You are so right.
You're just not a regular mall rat anymore. Since you've been calling us, you're actually taking your game to another level.
Well, at least you're a host that'll listen to all forms of opinion. I've heard some hosts, if they don't agree with you, they hang up on you. Get out of here! You're nuts, and they hang up on you.
There is a former colleague of ours that had a morning show on.
Well, I won't name any names.
No, yeah. But there's a perfect example. You know what? It's Lenny Palmer. I'm not going to beat around the bush if he wants to do whatever.
But I've known him forever. He's a good friend. So.
Yes, he's a good guy. But if I've said before, I've gone to his defense. He's got 5 days, 4 hours a week, 4 hours a day. Okay. And if he doesn't create controversy, he's out of a job, and that's what guy has to do. So if he says
he's good at his job, he sure is good at his job.
Yeah. But going to Dennis's point, there are times when he creates the controversy. You call him, And you know the best way you can stay on his phone line is say, Lenny, I agree with you. You're there forever. So, no, really. But yeah, there's no sense of having a call-in show if we're welcoming opinions, and as long as we kind of stay within
We welcome
reason.
all opinions here.
Yeah. So anyway, Shirley, what's going on? You know, as we know, we're the only game in town, I guess, for Veterans Day because nobody else is doing anything. So, do you have any? We're going to play "I Am the Flag," right, Dom, at the end.
Yep.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's
I got it queued up
favorite.
here,
You
so
are
I can do
so
it.
good at that, Scott.
Pardon me?
You do it so very well.
Well, my mom said I wouldn't amount to much, and for the most part, she was right. But at any rate, we've been. I think for 3 years in a row, we went down to the American Legion, which is in 58 below. We went down below there twice. One out to the job center, which was a disaster because they didn't tell the guy who was the master of ceremony that we were coming, and there was this big conflict, and he didn't want us to be there. And I didn't find this out. Remember, Elmo? That one guy.
Was it, or those at the job center?
At the job center,
At the job center, not at 50.
And they had the place packed, and they were giving them free lunches and breakfast. The Navy choir came up with a band, and there was this conflict with this one guy who was their master of ceremony. And unfortunately, he wasn't told that we were going to be there, and we had our stuff ready to go. And we stayed there for, I think it was 2 hours or so. And we interviewed Cruiser. We had a good time. But,
Yep.
you talk about egos getting in the way. Well, I told these folks afterwards, had I known that was going to happen, we would have bowed out. I didn't need to put up with this malarkey. Malarkey's a military term. I learned that in basic training. Amongst other, that's about the only
Was
thing I
that
learned.
the year, I think, that Pete Sargent first started at WLIP? Because he was out there, and me and him were working on the board together or something. Wasn't he there?
Pete Sargent was, he'd
he
been
was
there,
there.
but he was assigned to the remote.
Yeah, that was it.
And we had that, remember, Elmo, we had that big screen, and that's why we liked the
Yeah.
job center, because they had this huge screen that came down, took up the whole wall, and we were playing all our
Yep,
videos
yep.
And all the music, and we can't play them now because of copyrights, but we were playing them then, and it was, I thought it was one of the best things we ever did.
Yep.
I still think it was, but
Oh, the best thing, they had the Navy band there too. They were
Right.
They were spectacular. So that they were really good. So
came
I
up
like
from
that.
Great Lakes. And,
Yep.
So at any rate, Dennis, you have you want to shout out to any special veteran that you might want to recognize?
Yeah, I want to have a shout out to any veterans, especially that gave up parts of their own physical presence, their arms, their legs, their eyes, whatever they gave up, especially for this country. We appreciate it. I know we're in a lot of turmoil right now, but I still believe the heart and soul of this country is behind the basic values that they fought for. And I'm sorry, I really apologize to them for some of the people who are downgrading some of what they fought for and actually disparaging and making a mockery of it.
Yeah.
What you fought for is still here, and the most of this country still values it, and we value what you did for us, whether you gave up part of your body or do you have some type of psychological impairment after being through a
Hey, Dennis,
really difficult situation?
I'm going to cut into you. We got Gunga speaking of psychological problems.
Hi to Nancy. I got to say hi to Nancy.
Okay, hang on, everybody.
Hello.
Nancy.
Gunga,
Yes,
welcome on this Veterans Day special.
yes. Thank you. Thank everyone for their service.
Hi, Ganga. Hi. How's my
Good morning,
sweetheart?
Shirley. This is
Good morning.
A very
Get a
serious
room.
show. I am very impressed
Yes.
with your knowledge, especially the mall rat.
Hey, Gunga, were you in the military in Pakistan?
Yes, I made it to what do they call it? Diaper scout.
Well, thank you for your service.
You're welcome. I had 2 stripes on my diaper, and it was quite a successful tour.
What kind of? I hate to ask what kind of medals you were awarded, but the Bronze Star or
Well, they don't give you medals because they'll stick right through the diaper.
sounds like Captain Mike when he was awarded when he was in the Salvation Army, but.
Thank Captain Mike for all his service also.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if he calls in. You know, Dennis, you were hitting on something there when the people in, like, say, Vietnam, 58,000 people on the wall, but that's not to mention the 300,000 that came back all screwed up on Agent Orange without certain limbs. And I don't think at that time, and even after the Iraq War, we did enough to help veterans. I mean, there was reports of them going into the hospital, and there was roaches. I mean, and there was one big out in, I thought it was in New York someplace, but we never did enough.
I totally agree with you, Scott. I worked with some of those guys at the sheriff's department, and when they had that parade years later, I think it was probably about 5 years after the real return of the vets from Vietnam, they had a parade in downtown Chicago for them, long overdue, and I went to that parade, and it was really inspiring and great to finally honor these guys instead of having them come home to being spit on and called names and stuff like that.
You talk about a nation that was divided in the late, after the Tet Offensive 68, 69, and until the war finally ended. I think this is more divided now, but I hope we came out of that, and I think we'll come out of this one. Right, Gunga?
Well, I'm going to keep my opinion to myself. I don't know which way it's going to go.
Well, if you had one thing that would help the country come together, Gunga, what do you think it would be?
Besides Clyde.
Massive
We're not trying to help
alcohol
Elmo.
consumption.
What? What did you say?
He said massive alcohol consumption.
We're on our way, Elmo.
That's it.
Boy, you don't have to take these two boys to the woods.
Yes, thank you, Shirley. That was the smartest thing I've said in years.
I know.
Well, Elmo and I and the rest of our group, we've been doing that long before the pandemic came around. And so, but we were just practicing so that when this time presented itself, we will be national heroes and they're going to put us up on Mount Rushmore.
That's right.
I really
Are you
don't
still
know.
on the wagon, Scott? Are you still not drinking?
Not in your traditional sense.
Yes, no, Shirley, he is not drinking. I am an eyewitness. I have been sitting by his side at the bar on several occasions.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if we're ever going to recover from the COVID epidemic, just the psychological nonsense. I truly believe that the people here today are completely losing it. And I don't know if we will ever recover from that because they bought into something that, yes, it is positively a threat, but they've overstated their, their worries.
Mm-hmm.
Hear, hear, Gunga, hear, hear.
Yeah.
Everybody's too afraid.
Well, yeah. So
I know.
Yes, they're afraid of their own shadows now, and obviously that fine woman from Arlington Heights gave you the mask nonsense.
Gunga, you're a genius. I love it.
It's a sad time in our life, and I just don't have anything.
We'll get
else
through
to
it.
say.
No.
Gentlemen, have a wonderful day.
Hey,
Take it easy,
enjoy the
Gunga.
hey,
nice
before you
weather.
leave,
Yep,
hey,
take care, sir.
Gunga,
Love you, Gunga.
don't leave yet.
Bye-bye,
Love you,
Gunga.
go, Charlie.
Hey, Gunga, stay there.
Bye-bye, honey.
Gunga.
Bye.
Hey, wait a minute, Gunga, I got one more thing.
I'm gung-ho.
Tell everybody you just made up that. Hey, tell everybody you just made up that last story, and it was just hypothetical.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll talk about that maybe later today then.
I won't be around today. I've got something I got to get to, but tomorrow I will be watching the Bear game.
Okay. Have a great day, gentlemen.
See ya,
Take it
Gunga.
easy, Gung.
You wanted to, you asked me.
Bye, Gunga.
All right, Shirley, you got some weather for us? Hang on.
Yeah.
Kenosha Today's Radar Weather, sponsored by Capo Web Design, which is a locally owned web design and development. Oh, there you go. Business here in Kenosha, specializing in website design, development, maintenance, site and services. And there's some support right there, Elmo, who actually designed and is currently developing our site, KenoshaToday.com. For more information, you can visit www.capowebdesign. Go ahead, Shirley.
Okay. Gorgeous, gorgeous weather. Oh, we are so fortunate. Sunshine and warm today in the 70s. Warm and times of clouds and sun in the 70s tomorrow. And Monday, it's going to be like even warmer, 73. Periods of 70, a little breezy, but it's going to be warmer. And Tuesday, some clouds and a shower in the PM, but still in the 70s. And then Wednesday, it's going to dip down to like in the 50s. But so enjoy it. It is just gorgeous.
Hey,
Shirley, you're looking great, Shirley.
Hey, Shirley, since you
Oh, wow.
you get another call?
We got a couple of calls. I've been neglecting this.
All right.
I need a bigger screen.
All right,
here.
hang
Where
on.
did you get my picture?
That's the second. We got some calls. We'll take one at a time here. Hang on.
All right. Okay. Good morning. You're on Kenosha Today.
Hey guys, how you doing? It's Paul from Racine.
Hey, Paul. We got to bring in somebody else here too. I think we got. Okay. Morning, you're on
Hello?
Kenosha Today. Now we got a couple of people.
All right.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Who's this?
This is Irish Ruth.
Oh my God! We
disability
called.
I have a disability bus order to take me to Libertyville. One price cleaners today. Do you think I could take Gunga to the cleaners? I want to make a comment. I want to make a comment about the political landscape. I voted for Speedy Gonzalez. I wrote him in. And I would have voted for either one of the candidates who really aren't going to do anything different because they've not done anything different before.
Okay.
And I said one of them would have built a mobile home park. And
Okay, we're I just muted her, so she's gonna get going.
She's done?
Yeah. No, I just muted her. Okay, she's still talking, but I just got her mute. So, okay.
Well, I'm going to ask her a question. Put her back on the speaker. Hey, our time's a little limited there, Irish Ruth. How would you find us?
I'm going to leave you messages with Waukegan Newson for Talk of the County so that I can get through with my political comments for you. But if all the people would have stood in...
Hey! The election's over. We're not doing that. We're counting votes. You got something to say for Veterans Day? I'm all ears.
Yeah, I got something political to say.
Well, we're not talking
There's
politics
plenty
today.
of empty. There's lots of empty seats at St. Raphael the Archangel's Church instead of standing in line waiting to vote for a
We
politician.
are not. We're not talking politics. Ruth.
Okay, how about this? How about the witchcraft queen of New Orleans? She lost her power during Halloween.
Boy, I saw that. I sent
Did
her.
you hear
I said,
about
no.
that
I think
petition?
Scott was dating her, but
Yeah, Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Kenosha helped me request the Passover from all of the hurricanes. for
We
New
only
Orleans.
go to Our Lady of the Long Island, so
Yeah,
we don't.
Let's give a big salute to the street named Stars and Stripes in New Orleans.
Is that where the brothels
What
are?
about a salute to, what about a salute to the veterans, Irish?
Well, of course, why not the veterans? Bring them all in. All of them, the short, the small, and the tall.
Okay.
Remember that wonderful song from
Wait a minute.
World War II?
There's Stars and
All
Stripes
right,
right
I'm
there.
going to let
Holy
you
moly,
guys
Elmo.
go. Remember,
holy
I'll be
moly.
leaving you blue clues in Talk of the County. Okay?
Oh, I have one question before she goes. Scott, can I ask her?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure, Irish.
Sir,
Irish Ruth.
sir.
I have a question. Where are you performing your rendition of the national anthem today?
Ah,
Play ball!
wise man. Wherever I can kick Colin Kaepernick's ass.
Oh! All right.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
You know, Elmo, we're doing so good. We're about 8 months into this, and she found us. Now
That's God.
Hey, Dennis, you better tell your
Just
buddy.
when you think you're safe.
Yeah.
You're forgetting about Paul.
Paul?
Paul's here.
Oh, Paul, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The craziness that came out of that mouth, man.
It kind of put a Paul over the show, Paul.
Yeah, right. I guess so. You know.
That came right out of left field, man. That was.
Hey, Paul, you know what happened? This was a couple years ago when we did our show from the American Legion, and she comes in there dressed as
Statue of Liberty.
And she keeps bugging the commander that she wanted to come on and sing.
I'm not
Sing
surprised.
Sing the national anthem. I says, no, you can sing when I get all my stuff packed up and I'm out. So I'm in the bathroom, we're ready to get out of here, and she starts.
No. The problem was she went to the commander and he was all for it, and we had to go up and says, no way, there's no way you're going to let her do that.
So Paul, what she does, she gets up as we're exiting, and she's singing this. She misses a verse. And when she gets done, Captain Mike shouts, "Play ball!" That's what you're referring to. Dennis, you saw that, right?
I was there.
He was
I
there.
remember listening to some of those shows, but I don't remember that. That must have been, not part of the regular radio show because I don't remember that.
No, that was it was live from the American Legion. She wasn't on that part. WIP came there. Eddie was our thing. But go ahead, you got a question?
I remember that. Yep.
Interesting.
Scott, can I say hi to Paul?
Sure.
Hi, Shirley.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How's that pick for governor working out for you?
Yeah, no comment.
We weren't going to really talk politics today.
I just want to thank Scott and everybody that served. It's just, you can't thank you enough. It's just, thank you so much, everybody, for everything you've done.
Well, thank you, Shirley. Just so you know that I was on our side. I know
so it's nationwide.
Good.
It's been speculation.
I think I'll say goodbye.
Okay, bye, Shirley.
Bye.
Bye, Shirley.
Bye. Hope to talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.
Hey, Dennis, remember that? I was interviewing that one
Thanks,
guy.
everybody. Thank you.
Hey, do me a favor. Wear that same outfit for next week's weather, too, okay?
I will, yes.
Here's what. Here.
I love it. Yeah.
Hey, Dennis, wait for it. It's coming up and the delay here.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Shirley.
Dennis, you won't see this in a mall, I don't think. If you do, call me. I'll come up and get you. It's It's that picture of her
See
doing
if
the
it
weather.
comes up here.
Did you see it?
It'll come up.
It'll come up.
I get it. Okay.
There, right there.
Okay,
See that?
we got the.
Not yet. I'm waiting.
Oh.
You need faster internet. That's all right.
Oh, okay. I see the weather. Yeah.
Forget the weather.
Yeah, that's Shirley. Yeah, that's Shirley's giving the
Shirley.
weather. Yeah.
Where's the guy in the pink leisure suit? That's what I want to. Okay.
All right.
I still got Shirley with the weather on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's about a...
I'll tell you what, it looks like a warm front is moving in.
Don't you wish?
Warm rear. How about that? Okay.
Hey, guys, want to talk a little football?
Hey, what did Paul have to say?
I don't know. Is he still there?
Paul's still here. Yep.
Go ahead, Paul. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, so I guess, Scott, I didn't realize you served in the military. I do thank you for your service. What branch were you in?
I started in the Army and ended up in the National Guard from 70 to 76.
They gave him a gun, but they would never give him bullets.
You want to hear a true story? I almost heard this, but I'm on guard duty at Camp McCoy, and they give me an M16 with no bullets. And there's nothing on this corner that I'm supposed to be guarding except the post theater. So now it starts to rain, and I went in to watch Paint Your Wagon. So here comes the officer, the sergeant of the day, and he's, by the way, what are you doing in here? And I said, well, you gave me a gun, a weapon, I should say, and no bullets, and it's raining, so I used my common sense and came in here. The next morning, I was in front of the post commander, and he was. I went from a corporal to a private. That's why my career. I started as a private, got to a corporal, and ended up as a private. And he insisted that I go see the post minister and the post psychologist because he thought I was off my rocker, which I was, but I was not highly decorated, and I was not. I was
guys
not.
in the military, and guys and now ladies too, have some of the funniest stories. I met a guy a couple of years ago who he was a sergeant, I think, in the Army, and he was responsible for like inventory management when they would, with the transport planes.
Oh.
And he was involved in the Grenada, conflict or whatever. And he had this story about, it was just absolutely hilarious about how they, when they went there, some of the things that transpired, and guys like CIA agents on motorcycles. He goes, as soon as we opened up the door, those guys took off on those motorcycles, and he goes, I never saw them again,
Yeah.
They've got some of the funniest stories. I can't do it justice, but it was absolutely hilarious. And I think they have just incredible stories. I guess, and also I guess I would give a shout out to my niece. My niece is a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. She's stationed over in Germany. Yeah, she's our definitely like overachiever of the family, and just a true treasure. She's going to have, I think this year she'll have 20 years in, and she's done a lot. It's always interesting talking to her, getting her take, because I learn something new every time I talk to her. Last time I talked to her, she said the real threat to this country is China, which I always thought the issue was in the Middle East, but she said no. She goes, all the forward-looking bases that they're building in the South China Sea has our government extremely worried. And, she was telling me that she has, like, clearance to go to DARPA. You know what DARPA is, right?
Refresh my memory.
DARPA's where they do all the crazy, like, futuristic weapon-type systems. And, she was...
DARPA invented the internet.
Anyway, go ahead.
Has it? I don't...
DARPA invented the internet back in the late 60s. That's where it all started, so that's it.
Well, she's got a pretty high clearance, and she's got that.
Yeah, she actually does. It's like, obviously she can't share, she doesn't share a lot, but I'm always amazed every time I talk to her, just what she tells me. So I'm very proud of her and very thankful for her service. And so, and to all the veterans, that's why I think it's so critical that we stay engaged politically. When you think about, the hundreds of thousands of military people who, basically martyred themselves for their country, and we can't go vote, it's disgusting. You look at, like, people just like, I have a friend, I pushed him on voting in not this election, but the one for the Supreme Court justice in Wisconsin. And of course, the individual I wanted didn't win. And I asked him if he voted, and he said no. And then, months later, he was complaining about the state of the things going on. And I basically said to him, I said, I really don't want to hear it. If you can't take 20 minutes out of your day to go vote in every election, you're basically spitting on those who serve, really,
Yeah. Hey, Paul, there was a guy from Racine some years ago, Turner's last name. He was an alderman and an assemblyman. I don't remember his first name. Remember a guy last name of Turner, I think it was? Well,
yeah, okay, I think it's Robert Turner.
Robert Turner, right. So what he did was he had by his phone the voting list. So somebody called him, and this is what he did. He was there for 20 years. He said, let me check something out. You didn't vote. Why are you calling me? And it's kind of the same, scenario. And although, he's supposed to serve everybody, but that's his first line. You didn't vote. Why are you calling me?
Yeah, that people need to be challenged more with that. I think it's, when you look at what happened on Tuesday and what is going on, and I know we don't want to get too deep into this, but when you lose your moral compass, this is what you get. And there is absolutely no reason that they should be counting ballots 3 days later. I mean, when you look at a career politician, and I don't care if it's Joe Biden or whomever it is, they go in, they make $100,000, they come out after several years of being in politics,
We're
multimillionaires.
hundreds of
There's
millions
something
of dollars. That's
incredibly wrong with that.
Yeah.
your tax dollars at work.
Somewhere along the line. Yeah, well, the thing is, somewhere along the line, the term public servant has been completely lost, and they're not serving constituents. See, they're serving themselves. And
No, we're turning into a country of oligarchs. That's all it is. So,
You think we should have term limits?
Right. No, we should have term limits.
That's what I meant.
I
Yeah.
really believe that. You know, and you look at, just immorality that is going on in Washington, and you start to think about how there's not going to be consequences to that immorality. There will be, and there are, and we're seeing it.
How do we correct it, Paul?
Look at
Hey, Paul, how do we correct it?
well,
public executions.
Oh, that's-
well, I think what has to answer your question, Scott. I think what has to happen is, first of all, we're going to go through a period of really being humbled to the nation. And that's going to ultimately, I think, turn us back to our God. And that's what I think is going to happen. But, I think it's understanding, like we're talking about Veterans Day, I think it's first understanding that we didn't get to have the freedoms we have, and we don't have the lifestyle we have by accident. It didn't happen in a vacuum. It requires a lot of sacrifice, along with the privilege comes, a real, sacrifice, and we've gotten away with that. So that's got to happen. I think people have got to learn that they've got to be more self-sufficient, really. That's another part of it. We look increasingly more and more to the government for our everyday life. And
Hey,
we
Paul.
learn to be more self-sufficient.
Paul, early on, Dennis was talking about he was subbing. Do you think we need to educate the kids more on what sacrifice is all
That's
about?
the biggest problem that we have. Right
the
there.
kids are listening to their parents and they're taught, something.
No, kids shouldn't listen to their parents. They should
Yeah.
listen to the teachers. That's
Right.
the problem.
Paul,
Hey,
Well, Scott, let me just comment on that. You see these anarchists, the Antifa types, right?
Yeah.
You see the demographic of who they are, and they pound their chest and they go and they riot and they act like real tough people, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's because they've never seen, they've never understood what it's meant to really struggle. A lot of them are very entitled, and it's like, they think they want war. They have no idea what that means. If they were exposed to the true horrors of war, most of the people you talk to, most of the veterans you talk to, they will tell you after going through the experience of war that they never want to have something like that happen ever again. So you get these young.
That's absolutely what a great point. What a great point.
Paul, back in World War II, when the newsreels came back, it was all edited. So all you weren't seeing the horrors of war. Now we got to Vietnam, and Walter Cronkite, I was talking to Elmo. What you saw on afternoon, evening news at 6 was people coming back in body bags all blown up. And that was the true horrors of war that I think, in my view, turned the whole tide of the country against the war. For what were we winning? Nothing. All right, got that off my chest.
I think you guys this is an excellent show and an excellent topic for Veterans Day because you're talking about what these guys and women fought and died for and the values of the country, and that's really what Veterans Day is all about, like Paul is saying. And a famous Democrat, by the way, in the 60s, said the opposite of what's going on today. What Paul said, everybody is, not trying to be independent. They're trying to see what they can get for free or whatever. The famous Democrat in the 60s said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Whatever happened to that?
Well, somebody assassinated him. That's what happened. No, I mean, I'm not taking that lightly, but
I know.
That's what happened to him. And after Kennedy, and then that was in '63, and then Bobby in June. Actually, Martin Luther King in April of '68, and then Bobby. And I'm thinking the wheels are coming off this country at that time. I mean, if they could just go up and shoot presidents and those guys, geez, what's going to happen next? So, at any rate,
But I think if there's one thing that I think might be a positive with what's going on right now is and this is somebody said this to me. You're seeing an unveiling of people's hearts, and some of them are pretty dark. But now we know who those people are. And the other thing about it is it's talked about very often. The mindset is not one of appeasement. These people need to be defeated. They just do. They just do. You cannot reason with these people. You cannot allow them to have power.
Paul, you're absolutely correct.
Yep.
This is not about bringing everything
I
together.
agree
It's
totally
about
also.
defeating evil. That's it. Okay.
well,
Oh, by the way, gentlemen, newsflash for you, Scott. My news lady here, who's been listening to the radio while she's working on something here, just told me that the very, very highly esteemed AP, Associated Press, has declared Biden the winner with 270.
Good for him.
The Associated Press.
you're kidding.
The other thing that needs to happen too is I think people need to get away from, the news sources, the traditional news sources. I mean,
Definitely.
you're not getting the truth, people. You're just not getting the truth.
Hey, I got fellas. I got one last shot here. This is how we voted. This is how we encourage voting. Well, Dennis, you came from Chicago. Paul, you might appreciate this when it shows up here in a couple of seconds. Just wait for it. Wait for it. It should. That's how we vote. That came from Chicago, and that's why you see, Paul, all the yard signs on the cemeteries.
Well, like I told you, Scott, they call Republicans in Chicago fickle because they vote Democratic their whole life. Republican their whole life, and after they die, they vote Democratic.
There you go.
That's it.
Gentlemen, I got to move on. Thank you, Paul, as always,
All right.
for your comments.
Take it easy. Great show. Take it easy.
All right.
Happy Veterans Day.
There you go, Dennis.
Yep.
Thanks. We got one last thing to do here. We talked about the unified. This is annoying. They had that annual meeting.
We didn't talk about that last week. Okay.
We did.
No, we didn't.
Yeah. Well, we got everybody else.
We're going to kill the calls here. That's right.
Gentlemen, I got to move on. Thank you, Paul. As always.
No, we're near the end of the show.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay.
Well, anyway, the school board is voting almost a 10% levy hike, and this really steamed me, and we were going to try to get to this last week. Well, you know what? In a business, if your profits, your sales are going to be down for 10%, you
cut back, or in a household or anything like that.
Yeah.
No. This is basically what it is. Okay, let's see. But, I got a pay cut, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go out and stick somebody up and rob them and take their frickin' money from them. Okay. So I can pay off my buddies, and that's all it is.
So we're down
Okay.
1,400 kids, and that's less money we get from the state. Then we better.
Why do you need it? If you're down 1,400 kids, you don't have to pay for 1,400 kids.
And
at about $14,000 a kid that we're paying for,
that's about right.
It works out real good. So, okay.
So at any rate, this is my lead into this, Elmo. These are the top 10 ways. This is written in our home
Where are you,
office.
Todd Battle and Tom Duncan? Okay, and Mr. Wade?
Written in our home office.
Come on the show.
In the studio here at Barter Manor, this week's top 10 thought-provoking category. The top 10 ways Kenosha Unified District could save money in 2021. Number 10, make trolley driving an elective. Number 9, have the hookers on Sheridan Road fire Dr. Fauci.
Hey, Irish Ruth was on here. Is she wearing her high heels down there on Sheridan Road? Okay, go on.
Number 8, settle the Stormy Daniels complaint out of court. Number 7, move all the homerooms to burnt out car bodies on Sheridan Road. Number 6, reduce the grade point for honor roll students to .08. I can finally make my dad proud if that's the case. Number 5, cancel in-person learning for students in battleground states. Number 4, change playing strip poker back to a demonstration sport. Number 3, When buying weed in Illinois, get enough for the entire senior class. Number 2, let Captain Mike teach the sex ed classes. And the number 1 way Kenosha Unified School District could save money in 2021, at the annual meeting, let the electors play the pull my finger trick. That'll show them. Well, our time is...
Pull my finger.
No, I'm afraid. There goes the screen. We worked so hard to put this stuff together. Anyway, this is a good show, and I like the exchange and the opinions.
Yep.
That worked out well. And
Despite Irish Ruth finding us and calling in, so that was...
I knew that there would be a day when she found us. You know, if she'd make a point and... We got to have something that, I mean, God
I'm
loves
glad
her
I
anyway.
got the mute button on there. So
Okay.
Okay, so that's okay.
She's not still on the line, is she?
No, I've
No.
well, you know, I actually looked at, I can get like a sound drive of the cuckoo clock and stuff.
Let's get that in there.
Boop, 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 boop. I actually thought about that.
Let's
So,
get
okay,
that.
all right.
There's no copyright on that.
No, there isn't. So I can get that.
Well, folks, and that's going to wrap it up for the November 7th edition of the Kenosha Today Saturday Morning Breakfast Club. I want to thank our sponsors, Barter's Financial Planning Services, Kenosha for Open Honest Government, and Charlie V's Kids for Cancer Treatment Foundation. We have been streaming to you live this morning from the Barter Manor studio, located on the corner of Happy and What Went Wrong. And so for Elmo and myself, until we meet the next time, we thank you for the privilege of your time and have a very safe and pleasant weekend.
We'll be back next week, and I'll be singing like this. Arf, 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 arf. Arf, 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 arf. Okay, we're done. That's it. All right, that's it.